Welcome to the Black Men Think podcast. If this is your first time here, know that the views and opinions expressed by the Black Men Think podcast are those of the Black Men Think podcast and not the individual members. With that being said, we're about to be unapologetically, undeniably black. Enjoy.
Hey man, welcome to the Black Man Think podcast. We're elevating our thinkers because thinkers be out here thinking, right? I think that sounds about right.
We're actually elevating our black men.
We're elevating our black men because black men be out here thinking.
Thinkers think, doers do.
Yeah.
You don't remember the rest, do you?
No, I don't. Hey, but if you are watching this, thank you for joining us. Make sure you subscribe to Patreon if you want bonus content. Got free trials going right now. 7-day free trial. You can check it out if you like what you hear.
Oh, boy, I'm about to sign up.
Yeah, if you like what you hear, boom. Stick around, you know. So we'll introduce ourselves. We don't do that often.
We should.
I'm JD.
I'm Motown.
Corey.
My government name is Marlon.
There you go. But, my government name is Justin, if we want to do that. If this is your first time here, thank you for joining us. So the last couple of weeks, and shout out, we had Ace and Brian here last week. Great conversation around zip codes and, understanding how you can change your surroundings and elevate your life and your child's life. But, you gotta make some sacrifices. Some of those sacrifices, changing your zip code. Of course, there are some other things that we also talked about, so check that episode out if you want to get into that. But we got Corey here, and I'm just going to put you on the spot, bro. Like, where you been? I feel like you ain't been on the pod in about...
It's been a minute.
It hasn't been that long.
I disagree.
About a couple weeks.
In your brain, right?
Oh, yeah, maybe.
Yeah, it's been longer.
Yeah,
but, I mean, cool. We just want to, check in with you, see how you doing,
You got to get defensive.
Yeah.
No, it's
I'm just
fine. No, it's fine. No, I've been well. Just recovering from those stuffy nose stuff.
Gotcha.
Last week.
Cool.
Yeah,
Cool.
but just staying out the way, man.
Staying out the way.
Yeah, that's the goal.
Just staying out the way, man. No, for real. What's my boy name?
I forgot.
Yeah, he had a little movement for a while. White guy in corporate office on TikTok or Instagram, one of those. But so yeah, glad to hear that you're well. You're doing better now. Definitely want to make sure that we checking in on our brothers. But the other thing, man, you got a big day coming up.
Indeed.
What's that?
You about to be an OG.
I was born OG, man.
That's what I'm talking
Okay.
about. Born an OG.
Sure enough.
But we're talking about the big 4-0.
Oh, yeah. I guess.
Now we have some plans
You?
around. Yeah.
Oh, we correct.
Collectively, yeah.
Absolutely.
We got some plans around the 40th birthday that we'll discuss when the time comes. But I just wanted to ask you personally because I have that day coming up in a couple of months, right? So I just try to get an idea of like, hey, what is the thought process? What goes through your mind knowing that you're reaching this quote unquote milestone, right? Because we're at that age now where we're basically dealing in 10-year markers now.
Yeah.
40, 50, 60, 70, we just at that spot now. Whereas
What we did is we're about to hit that midlife. We pray it's the midlife. Put it like that.
Yeah, for sure. So, just wanted to know, like, for you, has there been any thought about turning 40?
Not really.
It's just another year.
I mean, I've never been the type about, like, when it comes to age and all that, I don't really, every day, tomorrow is a big day to me. I don't, I'm not looking at, like, 2 weeks from now, whenever it is, that, it's maybe once it started to sink in, I think it's more so when I actually tell somebody my age, it kind of hit me more so.
Yeah.
No, that's real.
Yeah,
because I have to think. I'm sure I will be telling people for a while I'm 39. And I'm like,
no, I'm 40. Yeah, that's a good point though, because we are at that time where we don't really I mean, how often do you have to tell people how old you are?
Well, let me ask you this: like, do you feel like we've hit 40? Or do you still like see? Because me and my wife talk about this all the time. We'll go out, we might find ourselves in a setting where we're dancing or something like that, and and then we walk away, and then we come back like a few days later. It was like,
I'm hurting.
Were we the old people in the room? Like, did people see us? Because we didn't feel that way.
Oh,
But do we look old, or do we still got it?
Yeah.
Because it's a good question.
Yeah, I don't think I look old. I mean, I definitely don't dress old. I mean, I don't dress like I'm 17 either. But I mean, I don't know. I don't really. In certain settings, I might feel, I definitely stand out.
Yeah.
I mean, but for the most part, I really still feel like I'm like in my 30s, maybe like mid 30s.
Oh, mid 30s.
Yeah.
I ain't gonna
Maybe
lie.
early to mid 30s.
It's kind of like, it's hard to fathom. I mean, I feel like I have 40 years of experience. I'll say that. Like, I feel like I've been here where I'm at in life, and this is just me personally, because I don't think it's something that you can gauge across the board. I think everybody has their own experience. I think we try to say what you should be at these different benchmark ages, but that's not realistic. For me, I would say I feel experienced, entering the year that I turned 40, which I'll turn 40 in, midsummer. But honestly, I don't feel like I don't feel 40, like I don't see myself as like what I perceive 40 to be, which is kind of old. Getting there anyway.
man. So it's kind of weird, bro, because I share the same sentiment as both of you, because I don't feel it until I get around people that is significantly younger than me. And then that's when it really starts to hit, right? So like when I'm in venues and I'm, around some people that is, really between that age of 28 to like 34, then I start to sense it, because the mindset is
different.
the mindset is different, number one. But outside of mindset, it's just like priorities. Because for any of us, right? Even, and not even just like because you're married or what, but like before you do something, you really think about what you're doing, right? Like there's no up on a whim just like going to do something. Like you're actually calculating it. And I've noticed when I'm like, I might be around like somebody that's 25, 26, and they're just like, yeah, I'm in Vegas for the weekend, or I'm here. Like, and I think about that. I was like, bro, I can never just say like I'm here for the weekend.
Yeah.
Like, yes, we can plan that. Like, I can put it on the calendar, and then we can get there. But like, just the spontaneity that I don't have that, and that's when I really start to realize like, oh, okay, the age kind of sink in, and of course, like the body elements and. Going to the doctor, and the doctor might say like, yeah, your LDL is like a little lower. You okay, yeah, this is something that I didn't think about in my 20s, but as you get older and you start looking at, okay, I got to watch what I'm eating. I got to watch all of these different things. That's when it starts to really hit. But outside of that, because like what you said, the dressing and all of that, bro, we're in a unique space to where we kind of came up under the like hip hop culture. And so the thing about hip hop culture is everybody's pretty much still dressing the same, right? Like unless you're over 50 and you're in like suit and tie every day type jobs, more than likely we all dressing to pretty much the same.
In our age group.
In our age group.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I mean, younger cats, I mean, the bell bottoms and it's all kind of stuff coming back.
Yeah, but coming back, right? Because we did it too, and it's I always equate it to when the last time you seen a grown man chew bubble gum, but bubble gum still exists. Like kids are still going to the grocery stores and corner store wanting bubble gum. It's weird because like you think to yourself like, man, I ain't had no bubble gum in like probably 20-some, 30-some years, but it still exists for a certain demographic.
Yeah,
and so everything eventually will come back around, bro. But like that's really for me, that's the only time I really feel it is when I'm around younger people, like significantly younger people, and I'm just like, yeah, I'm ready to go. You know what I'm saying? Like I ain't trying to be out here.
Can't even really have a whole conversation.
No. It's like, yeah, I'm deuces.
So on the flip side, do you feel different when you're around significantly older people?
Good question.
I will say
They make you feel young.
it do make you feel young.
And
Because
like,
that's
man,
what I
boy,
was
you
kind of
got-
like thinking. I was like,
Yeah.
man, why do I still see myself as like not too far removed from maybe that 25 to 30 range? Like I still feel, and knowing that I'm not that, knowing that my life experience is nowhere what it was in that space, but like how I feel.
Right.
And I think it's like a comparative view of the people who I viewed in my life as old. Like I got older cousins, you know. I got, I mean, I won't even go to like the generation before me. I'm talking about like people who were in my generation, but they were just significantly older than I was.
Right,
You know,
right.
And it's like as I go up, they go up, and they still like. I went to a party for one of my cousins a couple weeks ago, you know, birthday party or whatnot. And it's like being there reminded me they're still older. Like they're old. They're my old cousins. I'm still here. And it's almost like I see myself as that. They see me as that. I'm still the baby of the family, you know, before that next generation of younger cousins came along. It's like I will always be that. And I still relate to people that way. I still talk to people in the room as if I'm like the baby in the family. I'm about to be 40.
Yeah.
But it's some natural position that I put myself in. So it's kind of weird.
Now, one thing that I have noticed, and it's very similar to what Marlon just said, like when I get around older people, it does make me feel kind of younger. But one thing that I have noticed is the older I get, the more like the parental dynamic, we're starting to feel more like this. As opposed to like, you know, as a kid, you always felt like, man, my parents are like way older than me. Now it doesn't feel that way.
Different
you know what I mean?
conversations.
It's different conversations, and you know, you're talking about grandkids and siblings and things of that nature. And so that's something that I've noticed because like now I have conversations with my mom. There's still the respect level. Like I don't curse around my mom or anything like that. That respect level is definitely still there. However, the conversations that I have with my mom now, I would never have as a kid. You know what I'm saying? And so I almost treat my mom now like a peer, like a highly respected peer. You know what I mean? As opposed to like just mom, right? Because I feel like, I mean, like, hey man, life is life. And you know what I'm saying? Like I gotta have real conversation with you. I can't get that, you know, the not curl up, but you know what I'm saying? Like, oh man, that's mom. Like I think I'm so far out of that stage of that, but I still have that respect level because like I see when people be like full blown cussing around their parents, that junk just always seems
It's weird, man.
It's so weird to me.
Yeah.
And it's just, I mean, it could be just, you know, how I was raised or like where we're from too, because a lot of that has to do with being from the South sometimes too, that Bible Belt respect. And other places, it's just, they've grew up kind of free, you know. But yeah, man, that's just a different dynamic though, just looking at parents and getting older. And then sometimes I try to think about, damn, like what were my folks on at my age at like 40? Like what were they really thinking about? And I think it's important to have those conversations with them too. If you get that opportunity to like sit them down and ask those questions like, yo, mom, like what was life like for you at 40? Like, do you remember?
I have never asked my parents that.
Me either. But I think it's important to do that. Like I've had those conversations with grandparents, but it's more so about I wasn't trying to get an understanding of them being young. I was more so trying to get history.
You know what's interesting is like my dad, he dropped a few gems the other day. Like we were just talking, and he was like, "Yeah, man, I remember. You know, I always think back. You know, when you was this little bitty dude, man, I couldn't wait to get home to just play with you, and you know, and I remember washing your hair like in the kitchen sink. You know, I lay you on top of I said, Dad, I do that with my kids now. He was like, you do?
Yeah.
So it was like, dang, like I done hit that point of reference where for the longest, like I see this connection with, okay, this is what my dad did for me.
Right.
But now I'm talking to my dad about the same experience with my kids. You know, it's just, it was kind of crazy, you know. But see, y'all have been talking really about mentally where you are. Physically, do you feel 40? Because you go to the gym.
Not really. I mean, my left knee was trying to give me a little problem.
Boy, that's 40, boy.
That's
Your
40.
left knee is trying to tell you.
It's
Negro,
all right.
you about to be 40.
It's okay now, man. You know, some days I don't even feel it. And some days I'm going up
like
them
an OG.
steps.
Yeah. Look. Some days you don't feel it, and then some days you don't feel it at all. It's like, what's going on? Like I'm saying, no, man, what's going on?
Right.
Coming down them steps, boy, I'm like, ooh, ooh.
Yeah. Boy, you sound old right now.
Yeah,
boy.
exactly.
Sound like an OG.
Yeah, but besides that, I mean, nothing really. I mean, you know, sometimes when you get out the bed, you do have to sit there for a few seconds.
You gotta sit there.
Hey, but no, I can't. Speaking of bed, I can say this though, man. Like, for some reason, man, like I would say in the last couple months, it's something about my bed, man. It just like I look forward to going to sleep at night. Like I don't know if that's the old
That's
bro.
that
Like
40. That's that
bro.
40.
It just like it's no, especially when it's cold outside, man. It's like, bro, like leave me alone. I don't want to do anything. I just want my bed. And that's it.
I just want you to know, every comment you just went further and further closer to senior citizen. Dog, you got closer
I'm
and
perfectly
closer.
fine with it, bro.
and that's it. The acceptance, right?
Hey, look, bro, I'm
Once
perfectly
you get to
fine
that
with it,
Bro,
bro.
what time you go to bed?
Different between good night 10:30.
No, you might be 50.
10:30.
You might be turning 50.
10:30 to 12 between that range.
I got you.
It varies. But
No, it's real though.
yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I do like that part of like getting older where it's like I'm content with, you know, hey, get me a hot shower and I get in the bed. Like it's something that I don't know what it is. I just look forward to like, man, like and I hate being away, bro. Like I'm dead serious,
aging
man.
before our very
Like,
eyes.
bro, like I don't really like being away. Like if I'm going somewhere, I don't like being away. Like 3 days my max. Like for real, like I really want to get back to my bed, man. It just
Yeah.
for real, man. Hey, this is another thing too. I'm really showing my age, bro. It's nothing like that feeling when your sheets, you got clean sheets on the bed, bro. Man, bro. Like I'm not even exaggerating, man. Like for real, bro. Like that feeling with the sheets on that new, man.
My boy, that hit midlife.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
That's
good
it
feeling,
right
man.
there. Those when you look forward to those things,
Yeah, dog. Hey, man, welcome to old manhood, dog. You officially an unk now.
Yeah. You all see for real.
Yeah, unk status, dog.
I feel it though. Like I mean, when I was having some issues with my back, and actually I have ongoing issues with my back. And it's crazy because I hurt my back not on like some old age stuff, bro. Like I was literally just, well, I guess you can kind of say it. Like I was helping at the time my wife, grandmother out the car, and I just like moved the wrong way, and it's been like that for years now. You know what I'm saying? Like it's like an ongoing type of injury, and so I feel it in the morning. Like if I sleep the wrong way, wake up in the morning, and my back hurting, bro. Like I'll never forget. It was, I mean, now it's probably been about maybe like a year and a half, but I was having issues with my back and my feet, and I didn't know what was going on. Right, like so I'm thinking I've got a broken foot or something. Like dog, when I tell you,
You have flat feet?
I have flat feet. I mean, I figured the source of the problem was I need to get insoles.
I got you.
Right, but before I knew that, dog, I woke up one morning. And this was like, you know, I already had my back issues. I woke up, like, you know how you get up out the bed, put my feet on the ground. I stood up, and dog, when I tell you, I fell to the ground. Just on some like, bro, what? I don't know what this is.
Yeah.
Like, I'm talking about like pain, throbbing pain. It was scary. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, what? Like, this ain't normal. You know what I'm saying? And so trying to walk and like couldn't walk, didn't know what was going on. So, and you know, I'm telling wife about, because I try to make sure I tell her about everything.
Yeah.
You know, that's going on. I don't want to like,
You want no surprises?
I don't want no surprises though. Like I went through that with my dad where he didn't say something to my mom about something, and then it turned to something that, you know, So it's like, no, bro, whenever something, it could be something small. I just tell her just out of just like, boom, I'm just letting you know so you can bank it. If you keep hearing me say it, then we need to look into it or whatever. And so, I would tell her this, and she thought I was just kind of like, all right, cool, like your foot hurt, whatever, because it would go away. And like, dog, when I was telling you, I was trying to like walk up the stairs one day, and I was just like, oh, something's wrong. So I go, and at the time, I just like went and got a X-ray because it was just like, oh, I'm just gonna go and. So I got the X-ray, had the X-ray sent to my primary care physician. She was like, no, your foot. There's no broken bones. Nothing. I was like, nah. You know what I'm saying? I was like, no, something's wrong with my foot. Like this ain't okay. It's not broken, but something is wrong. So I ended up going to a podiatrist, and I forgot the term for what it is, but there's a ligament that goes here. And basically that ligament was like partially torn. And what happened over time is because it's a ligament that lifts your arch up. And so what happens just over time, my foot has became used to that lack of support. And it was collapsing. And so what was going on is like I have a very flat foot. And so went there, he was like, yeah, you can you got two options. Well, three options. You can get a brace. Try the brace. If that fixed the problem, you're fine, but you'll probably have to wear that brace all the time. You really just need to get insoles. That was option 2. It was like number 3, we don't try to do this, but you might have to have surgery. And the surgery would be is basically repair that tendon to lift it up and then kind of give you like a faux arch, so to speak. So I was like, bro, I ain't trying to get cut. I ain't trying to get cut. So I left there with the brace, did that for a little while. It kind of solved the problem on that foot, but I kept having the same issues. And so I eventually ended up just getting insoles. Probably 2-3 weeks of wearing insoles.
When I tell you, like, putting support under your body,
Bro,
it changes your whole, like, girth.
everything, dog.
It's crazy. So, like, I mean, I guess I'll still call myself, I'm a runner. I'm probably not the level of runner that I used to be, but I used to run in the Nikes or the shoe brand that I could afford.
Yeah.
Not realizing like these ain't good running shoes, or just running in some shoes that I thought all running shoes were created equal.
Yeah, and that's not the case.
And of course, you get to a point in life where you learn differently. You finally go to the running shop, the running store, and they test you, they put you on this balance, you run, they show you where your pressure points are and all this kind of stuff. And of course, they recommend, all the shoes. And then at some point in life, you're actually able to buy you a nice pair of running shoes. Game changer.
Yeah.
Feel like to get something that you feel like you're running on clouds. But what I didn't realize was the shoes that I would wear, from the flat shoes, thinking they're fresh, from Chucks so all these shoes that don't really have support, not realizing like they affected my back, they affected my knees,
everything,
they affected the weight, things that you have to worry about as you become and get closer and closer to becoming an OG.
I threw all my Chucks away. Well, I donated all my Chucks. I was just like, I can't wear them.
Yeah,
I can't wear them, and because how Chucks are made, they're very difficult to put insoles in because it's like
they're narrow
and flat. So if you put an insole in, you can wear them, but I basically would have to like go up in a size on all of my Chucks to put my insoles in. I was just like,
see, the sad part about it, like at a certain point, going on the Nike app, I just had to go ahead and sort it. Like, let me just go ahead and go above this tier because I can't wear none of them. The affordable, shoes that, they might look fresh, they might have a little design on it, but it's like, man, I got to go ahead and go.
Yeah. It made a difference though, bro. And I still have back problems, but I don't have those. If I have the foot issues, that's like literally me on my feet all day long. And just like, you're going to have the occasional swelling. But that type of pain that I felt, bro, getting out and feeling like my foot was like about to fall off.
Yeah.
I haven't had that, after 3 weeks of wearing my insole. So I realized that's what it was. But it's, 30 plus years of flat feet and not getting it handled. You know what I'm saying? Because if we're being honest, your feet is just like vision, right? We find out very early if we needed glasses.
Yeah.
And we go and do what we need to do to correct it, right? You either gonna wear your glasses or you gonna wear contacts. Most people find out that, maybe in elementary school, right? And you get it corrected. But flat feet, you don't think about that. Nobody I don't know anybody that grew up around me that just casually went to the podiatrist. Nobody. You know what I'm saying? Like if they went, something major had to happen for them to go.
Right.
And that's how you're 30 plus figuring out like, oh, bro, like your whole walk, everything is off. Like you, then going to the chiropractor, that shows you something else too. I don't know if y'all ever been to a chiropractor, but like, bro,
It's a game changer, man.
man, that's different, bro. Different. Have you ever been to a chiropractor?
Well,
Change your life.
Go get you a good back adjustment.
Just one time. I mean,
Well,
you gonna keep wanting to go, but like that's how they sell you on. You go once, you're gonna be like, kind of need to go back.
Yeah.
But like just go and get you an adjustment, dog.
Let me ask you this: what entering 40? Because this is our year. Like, I mean, some of us hit it last year. Most of us in the crew that you hear, that I think is here on this podcast, even the wives, like really our network is hitting that pivotal year this year.
Yeah.
What is your version of fun as an approaching 40-year-old man?
Minus my bed.
Yeah, minus the bed. The bed has been established.
Clearly.
Man, just relaxing, man. I mean, this can be fun right here. Like, I don't have to be out and about in the crowd. I mean, that's before 40, to be honest.
Yeah.
Like, I'd rather be at a house, social gathering, rather than
Something
out
small.
somewhere. Yeah. Just, low key. I mean, I always been low key, but really more so the older I get. It just, I mean, I don't have to be on the scene. Like, I don't care about, doing what everybody else is doing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if it's low key, it sounds good to me.
How about you?
Man, my definition of fun at this age is traveling, bro. Traveling, it's like I need to get that put up somewhere, but it's like traveling and like eating food from those places. That is fun for me, bro. Like I absolutely love that. Like just going to a new place and experiencing the culture in that place. Like that is real fun for me. And I absolutely love the idea of being able to do that every day. That's just, it's something about that, bro. Just because some people kind of like, and especially if you travel for your job, it might be a lot. You know what I mean? It's just like, man, I got to go to the airport. That whole thing, because that's a process, right? Like going to the airport,
Right.
Especially if you live in a city like we do, where the airport is busy. That's a headache having to do that 2 or 3 times a week. You know what I mean? But I just like that idea, bro, of just like, it's something about going to the airport, especially going somewhere internationally, seeing them stamp my passport. That does something for me,
Bro.
Like I absolutely love that.
Yeah, I mean, travel for sure, I think is something that's probably like top 2, 3 things on my list where it's like, when that moment comes, like it just does something for me, I mean, honestly, like we about to take a guys trip. Like that's my point on my calendar where I'm like, I got to get to that point.
Yeah.
Right there. Like, can't wait to get out of town. And we're not even flying,
Yeah.
But we going somewhere. We going away. But what's so interesting is like, I feel like I've hit this, and this is not new. Like I think maybe I think right before the pandemic, I hit this wave of like, I gotta get out. Like I gotta get, not all the way outside. Like I ain't trying to go back, like we lived, we experienced, but I need to be out somewhere,
You mean like outside, like out and about?
Yeah.
out and about, like, I mean, it's a Saturday, ain't no kids around or something like that. Like I need to be somewhere. If I'm going shopping, I need to go like to a bar that night or something like that. I just need to be active. Like
Yeah.
I can't. And granted, I guess I haven't realized or really assessed whether or not I'm anything remotely close to a homebody because I don't think so. I mean, it's moments I appreciate being at home. Like I really do. Obviously with the fam and stuff, my wife, you know, but times for me, like sometimes I'm just like, I just want to sit in my bed. Like I just want to sit there and scroll on my phone or watch something, some series or something like that, you know, watch the game. I like being at home. But I would say more times than not, I need to be outside of my house. I just got to be on the move. Like I would prefer to do what I got to do at the house and then go somewhere. I'll go sit in a movie. Like it's just, and I probably got that from my dad. Like we were chatting about that the other day too. He was like, "You remember back again trading stories, which is a sign of my age at this point." Like he like, "Yeah, when I was there, you remember, you know, after this, I would go to the movie. Like I'd get you to bed and I say goodnight, but I'm on my way to the movie." I said, "I don't even remember that, Dad." Like he was like, "No, about your age, I'll be at the movies." I said, "That's crazy. I do that now. Like I get everything settled. I'm like, man, I'm gonna go catch this late movie." And it's not even necessarily about like I want to see the movie. It's just about I need to get out the house and I need to go sit with myself and do something for me.
It's peace. You know, I had this same conversation with my wife. Like at the beginning of the year, we go over goals and things that we want to see happen. And I just told her, I was like, "Man, babe, like the pandemic took something away from me." Because I was like, I was so used to like performing and
because you was really like at the peak of being on the road.
I was at the peak of being on the road.
Dang.
Like literally,
like right before.
bro, right before the pandemic, no exaggeration, like my group, we were out of town every month. Like every month we were doing a show somewhere out of town. But you know, I was, and also like I had monthly residencies at like 2 or 3 different locations. And so I was used to being outside. And I told her, I was just like, yo, you know, I really miss that. But, you know, I know now things are changed, things are different. Like when I was doing that, it took a toll on my wife at the time when I was outside, mainly because, you know, we had 2 young children, very young children at the time. And so, but I was explaining to her, I was just like, yo, like, I really enjoy doing that. You know what I mean? And when I'm able to do that, I become alive. And I realize that not being able to do some of those things, I don't even want to call it, it may even be a depressed state. Like I just didn't know it, but I was just like, I'll find myself just like, bruh, like something's missing. You know what I mean? And so I was explaining that to her and just letting her know, like, you know, I gotta be outside. I gotta do something. I gotta be around people because I learned about who I am as a person. I am a homebody for a good chunk of time, but I'm like one of those extroverted introverts or whatever they call it. Like I love being by myself. Like I can be at home, everybody in the house over there. I'd be right here by myself. I ain't got to be doing that. Just like you said, I'm just chilling by myself. But when I'm outside and I'm around like my element, I'm
People.
I got to be around people. And I realized that I feed off of people. I need to be around people, you know, and not just like family. I got to be around different people. I've learned that about myself. And, you know, I was just telling her, I was just like, I don't know if I got a plan for how that's going to happen. I know it needs to make sense for our family because I don't want it to be like just gone just to be gone type thing.
Yeah.
But I got to figure that out. You know what I'm saying? Because I realized like, I'm missing it. I miss it.
Yeah.
I really miss it. And when you don't have that element of like being able to perform, when you have a performing element, I didn't know it before, but it does something to you. Like if you're an expressive person, you have to find like, and thankfully podcasting filled that void because even though we're not necessarily performing, I get an opportunity to be expressive. You know what I mean? And so
For one, I mean, podcasting gives us the venue to get the homies back together on a regular.
Sure. On a regular
basis. Because I remember there was a period where it almost seemed like it wasn't frequent enough.
Bro, we ain't see each other at all.
We ain't see each other, you know?
Especially during the pandemic,
Yeah.
you know?
What did you like? Do you feel like you lost anything in the pandemic? Because and I asked you that because like when you said that, I was just like, it's interesting. We always hear about what kids lost. Like they didn't go to school for a year and a half, 2 years. You know, some kids showed up in first grade or second grade had never seen a classroom in their lifetime. Like it's real. And some of us got kids that literally experienced that. You know, but I was like, you never really think about like what did adults lose during the pandemic? Like did you feel like?
I don't think I really lost anything. I'm trying to think. I kind of feel like I always kind of been a homebody, but maybe the pandemic made me more of a homebody because I'm so used to being in and not going anywhere. And so when things open back up, I guess, being in a year is just like, is nothing different. So probably the pandemic made me more so of a homebody than I was prior to the pandemic. If I lost anything.
Like you lost a need to be around.
Right. And I survived and I was okay for a year or however long it was without going out, being outside like that. And then, after the pandemic, it probably like kind of stuck with me. But I don't think it was like, I don't have any examples of anything like things I were really doing prior to the pandemic. And then the pandemic kind of shut it off and it kind of stuck with me. So nothing that comes to mind for that.
What about you?
I don't really know. I never thought about it, but I'm thinking like that time period changed everything, changed everybody in some way, shape, or form, right? I don't know. Like honestly, I think for me, it might have been the opposite. I think I gained something. I don't think I lost anything. Like I think, and this is just a transparent moment. Like I feel like prior, maybe like right before the pandemic, and I would probably give it maybe a year period. I just distinctly remember events leading up, and we've talked about them on the podcast before. But like it was March, like I had a business trip that I was about to take. I was so ready to get out of because I felt like I had been crammed in. And I needed a break. I had 4 young children. Fourth had just been born, I think. Yeah, the fourth had just been born. So like it felt like life was just like the walls were closing in. I was like, God, dog, like I cannot get a break. I was stressed at work. It was so many things happening. And I was so excited to take this business trip just to get away for a few days. I had like literally started packing my bags on a Wednesday. And I remember like that Wednesday, stuff started changing. I was supposed to be at the conference, I think, on that Friday. Like literally my boss was like, I need you to sign a document because there's some rumblings of COVID or something that's coming out, something. And if they're still going to do this conference, like I don't need that liability on the company. So I said, show me the document. Like I'm signing. I'm going. Like I'm going. I'm going. I'm straight. Like I don't care. I'm going to this city to get away. To go to this conference and whatnot. But like part of me just needed to get away. And I remember the next day, bro, the email coming in. Shut down. I know you feel it, but bro, I was so devastated. But I think I was approaching this like breaking point and not realizing that really what I needed was to slow down. And so what came from, being at home with family, you would think it's like, man, I can't get away. But I think what happened was like when things shut down, like I got the break that I needed. And I almost had space to exhale, like to breathe in air, to exhale, and then to like gather myself.
That's real.
Whereas like the pace of life before the pandemic was probably becoming too much.
That's I received that too, bro, because I dealt with a lot of that as well. Like I know my wife and I, we talk about it all the time. The pandemic like greatly impacted our marriage in a positive way.
Same.
Like we needed that time to reconnect, and also reassess where we were headed, right? Like a lot of things happened during the pandemic where we had small children, and so that was the number one adjustment. Just like, oh no, but like we here all day, every day,
And no break.
no break with these kids.
Yeah.
But I noticed that the difference in my children is that they have a stronger relationship with their parents because, like Jade expressed this to me a couple of weeks ago. She was like, she had kind of got back in that phase, like, oh, I don't want to go to school. And so, me as a parent, like, why you don't want to go? She was like, man, because like you, mommy, Noel, like y'all just like be having fun. And I realized she was like, oh, she had got so used to like just being, because we like one big family, bro.
Yeah.
Like we do everything together, right? Like even if we handling business, they in the car while we handling, like, so we're doing everything together. And she was like so thinking that she was missing out. And I was just like, no, baby girl, like you got to go to school. School is an important part of your life.
Wow.
And like mommy, daddy, Noel, we're just here. You know what I mean? But when you get back, we'll still do all the things that we could, that you would do if you were here. And, those things don't happen without the pandemic. Realizing that the opportunity for new business ideas don't happen without the pandemic. Right? Realizing that we had to, like, hell, we came out of the pandemic and bought a house. That don't happen without the pandemic. And I say that to say because the person that we was renting this house from probably never would have sold this house if the pandemic wouldn't have happened. I was like, oh, I'm just going to keep collecting rent.
Yeah.
The pandemic happened. The world shuts down. They're looking at like, I got to get cash heavy. So they're like, whatever I got to, you know what I mean? Like, but all of these things happened during the pandemic. And of course, like I lost my dad during the pandemic, and so that was a whole nother life event that I can't even imagine if the world was open and I lost my dad. I probably wouldn't have took the time to like really assess what was going on. I probably wouldn't have like really dealt with that. I would have just put myself in work.
You didn't have anything else.
I didn't have nothing. I just had to sit there with what was going on and face it. And I think that's what like God really did with the pandemic. Just like, look, all this stuff y'all got going on, all this stuff y'all think y'all out here, y'all lit, y'all think y'all got all this stuff going on.
Yeah.
Like, no, bro. Sit down and deal with it. Take it all out. Deal with whatever you got. Whatever you deal, whatever's like up under those layers, like peeling those onions back, bro. Like, no, all this stuff that you think that you cool with, like, no, now you got to deal with it. And we know some marriages didn't survive the pandemic.
Facts.
Some friendships didn't survive the pandemic. And so when you go through things like that and you realize like, oh no, like we came out pretty good at all that. And I'm glad you said that because it really made me think about like, no, I missed out on a lot of stuff. Don't get me wrong now. I missed out on a lot of money, like a lot of, I ain't gonna act like that. Like, no, bro, like, but the truth is it was for the benefit of becoming a better person. You know what I mean? And so I can receive that for sure. Definitely.
What about you? You feel like it's like anything? What was you doing during the pandemic, bro? Like
Chilling, man.
getting comfortable with these pillows.
Now I wasn't really that in love. It started probably like sometime last year.
Oh, in love with your bed.
Yeah.
Okay, you got to clarify.
Yeah, I know.
Oh yeah.
When we gonna meet her, dog? You said I wasn't in love.
I'm doing too much, man. But yeah, I mean, I was just chilling, man. Just trying to stay away from the vid,
Away from
man.
the people.
Stay away from the people.
Yeah, but
Man, that's interesting, bro. I think that's an epiphany tonight for me, man. Like, I gained more out of that time. Now, granted, I'm very, very empathetic to people who had a completely different experience.
Right.
People lost family members. People lost people. People lost themselves.
Yeah.
People lost their minds, their marriages. We said it all. People lost businesses and houses, and a lot was lost. I think, especially in this country. For one, because it took forever for us to get it together.
Man, so long, bro.
Which is a whole nother podcast topic. But I mean, I personally had more growth, I think, in that time period. And I think it to your point, it took God stripping things away for me to put my eyes on him in a way that I never had to before, but also to realign and like see the blessings that I had before me, you know, from my
that's right.
family, my wife. Ironically, I was sitting here thinking, like, even professionally, because of the pandemic, I had an opportunity to lead the organization that I was with at the time out of the crisis that came from the pandemic, which I think shined a light on the value that I had for the company in a way that never would have been seen had things been normal. Because
Right.
unfortunately, when you know, perform at a high level, it gets comfortable for people. Like, people get used
Oh,
to
that's
it.
just what he do.
That's
Yeah.
call him, you know,
Yeah.
and the appreciation for you dies because this is the normal. Like, your normal is now set at a high standard, and this is the expectation. But the value of that, it goes down. And I think when things went crazy, I was able to step in and lead, create, you know, come up with plans. Not to mention, like, not only how to navigate the shutdown, but how to bring us back to normal.
Right.
And then when you come out of the craziness, you bring us back to a level that was higher than where we left off. And then that's where the value and the spotlight happened on me professionally. I feel like that's where, you know, this portion of my career kind of started to take off. Not to mention, like, you know, now moving into a different space where, okay, now I've been elevated into different roles because of that.
Right.
So I would say, man, a lot of challenges came out of the pandemic, but I think for me, you know, speaking for me, like, a lot of good came out of it. You know, family is excellent. Like, never been couldn't ask for a better scenario right now. You know, couldn't ask for a better marriage. So I'm honestly grateful, you know, for what it was that we were able to get out of it, man. And yeah, I think it made me a new me in a way.
That's real. That's real. I mean, I think that's a good stopping point, bro. That's a good stopping point. We're going to continue to have a conversation on Patreon. If you want to hear that conversation, make sure you go right now. You click the link in the show description. It's patreon.com/blackmanthink. You can go there, sign up for the free trial, or you can go ahead and pay for it now if you want to. That's totally up to you. But we got bonus content over there. We have more conversations. Our Black Afterthought podcast is there as well. But get to know us better on Patreon. And so, as always, we elevate our black men because black men be out here thinking. I am JD. That's Motown.
Yeah.
Corey right here back. And we'll see y'all next week.
The Black Men Think Podcast.